What's up guys, welcome back to David's Feed. In this episode we get up close and personal with the pit viper responsible for the most bites in Thailand. Find probably the cutest one ever and might even get bit ourselves. Ow.
We're out in the forest tonight looking for all kinds of species, but particularly we're looking for a very unique species of viper that was found here, so let's hope we find it.
Yeah, and we're in quite a special spot to me. You know, this is a spot I found years ago, back when I was living here in Thailand, and I think it's the best spot to find this particular species, so the odds are that we're going to have a lucky night.
I think there's a really good chance we're going to find the viper we're after, but it's a really good habitat for very many species, so I'm feeling quite confident that we're going to find a whole bunch of other interesting stuff as well tonight. So right down here in this pile of leaves is a tarantula burrow. You can see they use their web to sort of stick leaves together to make a tunnel, and these leaves around here are covered in microscopic spider webs, which are all connected to where the spider is. So as soon as a little insect or something crawls over it, the spider can feel that and come out. So we're going to use this twig here to simulate an insect and see if we can get it to come out. I think it's pretty big based on the girth of the hole. A lot of the larger tarantulas are actually very defensive when you confront them.
Oh wow, look at this white. The entire abdomen is white.
Get a little bit of better stick.
Oh, he's gone. Alright. So what snake do we have here?
This is a Malayan Pit Viper. A quite decent sized female by the looks of things. These are notorious for being very aggressive, striky snakes, which as usual isn't true. They're relatively calm usually, unless you really provoke them. So a lot of the accidents that do happen with this species is because of people treading on them. These snakes are nocturnal, they like to just sit on the path and ambush, and if some people without shoes or flip-flops are walking on the path at night without light, often enough the snake won't move out of the way in time, and people end up stepping on it, which of course usually will result in a bite. They do have a very potent hemotoxin and some cytotoxic components as well, which causes severe destruction of limbs. It's not uncommon to lose like a finger or a toe, or a part of your foot if you're bitten by these.
It eats away tissue, doesn't it?
Yeah, although if you do get antivenom, it's very unlikely that you're going to die. Before antivenom was well distributed in Thailand, this was actually the snake responsible for the majority of snakebite deaths.
And it's still responsible for the vast majority of snake bites.
Yeah. A lot of the times when these snakes bite, they actually give you dry bites. A dry bite is when the snake bites and doesn't inject venom, because venomous snakes, they can actually choose whether or not they inject venom in a bite. And venom is very precious to them, it takes a lot of energy to produce. So if you're not a prey item, they would rather not waste their precious venom on people. So they'll often just give a warning defense bite without any venom, and then people go to the healer, rub some leaves on it, and think it worked because you didn't die, right? Usually they just will bite to make you aware that you're there, rather than actually trying to kill you, because the main reason why they have venom is to kill their prey, not to bite people.
But it's so incredible that so many people get bitten despite them dry biting a lot of the time. Why do you think that is? What's their habits?
They're very slow, sluggish snakes that are ambush hunters, so they'll just sit like on the edge of a path, because a lot of rodents, which is what their main diet consists of, will use paths to navigate from A to B as well, because it's a lot easier for a rat just to come to a path, run along it, and then go back into the forest somewhere else, than to go through the forest from to where it wanted to go.
But it's not forest that you find these guys in most of the time, is it?
No, they can range in very many habitats. They're very common around human dwellings, especially because of their diet, rodents, which is often enough attracted by food and stuff that people leave out, trash. So these snakes are very common in close vicinity to humans, which is a large contributing factor to why so many people do end up getting bit by the snake. But as you can see, if you're not injuring or scaring the snake, this one will sit quite happily on my hand, not biting me. Alright, so this was the first one, but it's a very, very common snake here. Likely we're going to see many more tonight, hopefully some other species as well. And yeah, very sweet snake. It was nice to see this right within the first 10 minutes of herping. We're going to let her go and continue hiking.
It wasn't long after letting this one cruise off that we encountered our second highly venomous pit viper of the evening.
Alright, so we've just spotted another one crossing the path. He's shooting off into the ditch here now. Whoop. Well, as you can see, look, he's flattening out his body, which is another defense mechanism they have. They'll flatten their body out very much to look as big as possible. Let me bring him out onto the path here. Alright, so the last one we found was a female. This one is a male, also pretty good size one. And what I wanted to show you was another thing they do when they're being defensive is they'll flatten out their ribs to make themselves look a lot larger. And as you can see, when I pat him along the back here, he will flatten out his rib cage. Or not. Okay, so this is number 2 of the night, a beautiful male. We're going to keep walking, maybe see some more of different colors. They're a very variable species that come in a lot of different shades and tones. Just going to move him off the path where we found him and let him go on his way.
Alright, David's just seen a snake.
Up in this tree over here, there's some species of vine snake, and I'm relatively sure that it might be a Malayan vine snake, a Heterla macturizans, which is a species I've never found before. I'm going to go in and grab it. Yeah, it definitely is. It's also a very different shade of...
Oh, it is. I can see the striated pattern from here.
Yeah. It's also much more lime green than most of the Prasina are.
And there you go. You see that patterning on the neck? That's like the key distinguishing feature. It's striated on the neck, whereas Prasina has more of like a digital pattern.
The distance between the eye and the tip of the nose is much shorter than on Prasina. Prasina have a very elongated face, and this one is a bit more short and stubby. This is a really cool snake, and considering it's the first one I've ever seen of the species, I'm definitely going to have a little photo session with it and get some really high resolution shots. And then we'll release it and keep herping.
Awesome, let's go.
Alright, so whenever I find a species that I've never found before, I like to get some really nice shots of the snake in its habitat, just to kind of keep as a collection of all the species I've seen. And these vine snakes pose really nicely. Alright, I think I got my shots. Let's keep herping.
As we continued our night walk, we saw several other Malayan vine snakes of different shapes and sizes, including this tiny little juvenile. We also saw some cool frogs, as well as one of the less common species of snake.
Now, previously they were Calloselasma, but now they are Lycodon, so closely related to all the other wolf snakes. But these ones, as you can see, are much thinner and longer, and they're much more arboreal than the other wolf snakes are. And they also have a bit of a different diet. They like to feed on bird and reptile eggs.
Yeah, these guys love gecko eggs.
They don't swallow the eggs, do they? They like push their head into them, or how do they do it?
I don't actually know. I've never seen them feed.
I haven't seen them feed either, but a friend of mine was actually herping and found one that was covered in egg yolk, as if it had just been eating an egg.
Well, if anyone knows better than us, please let us know in the comments.
Yeah, if you're any sort of Calloselasma/Lycodon expert. Alright, so there's a snake somewhere in the shot here. Let's see if you can see it. It's very small. It's only a hatchling. Probably not even 2 months old. If you look closely right down here, there's actually a very, very small Malaysian pit viper. The smallest one I've actually ever seen in the wild. Oh, it's very twitchy. Let me just get a small stick to test his temperament before I go ahead and pick it up. Whoa, that is tiny. And this one's probably only like, I don't know, a few weeks old, if even. I mean, look how tiny that is.
That's one of the tiniest ones I've ever seen. Possibly the tiniest.
For sure is the tiniest I've seen.
And how come you can handle these juveniles like this?
A lot of snakes, as juveniles, haven't really developed that instinct to know what is danger and what isn't. So a lot of juvenile snakes you can actually get away with handling a lot easier than the large ones. Also, a lot of the juvenile snakes, when they hatch, they will just wander straight onto highways, into people's homes, just because they haven't really got that life experience yet to know what is danger and what isn't.
But we're definitely not endorsing picking up every juvenile venomous snake you see.
Yes, no, definitely don't replicate this, because even at this size, if it were to bite me, I could potentially lose fingers or worse. This snake is adorable.
What a cutie.
And if you look closely, you can see on the tail tip they've got that bright yellow coloration, which they use as a caudal lure. They will actually wriggle that while sitting with their body completely motionless, and a small skink or lizard passing by may think that it's a worm, run over to snatch it, and then the snake will strike and catch it. That was ridiculously cute. By far the smallest one I've ever seen. I actually didn't know they were that tiny when they hatch. Must have been from a relatively small female, because with a lot of snakes, if the female is larger, she will lay larger eggs and the hatchlings will actually be larger. And if it's a smaller female, she will lay smaller eggs and the offspring will be smaller. So
Oh shit, he's on your foot.
scared me for a moment. Just actually gonna bring him a little bit off the beaten path here, because people will be coming on this path early tomorrow morning.
And this guy will not know what to do. Beautiful.
We're just bringing him a bit off the path.
In there.
In there.
Good luck, buddy.
Good luck, little viper.
This was where we originally planned on ending the video. However, David and I returned to the exact same spot a little later and found another really cool snake.
Okay, I'm rolling.
Alright, Rupert just spotted a really cool snake that we weren't expecting to find here. You can see it right on top of that termite mound there. This is a brown kukri snake, and quite a big one at that. Let me try to get him out without getting bit. I can see his head over there. Oh wow, it's really nice. Super pinkish. I found this species in Borneo before, but never in Thailand. This is a very rare snake around here.
Yeah, I've been herping in Thailand for so many years in the south and I've never seen this species.
The Latin name for these is Oligodon purpurescens, and the common name is brown kukri snake. And they get that name kukri snake from, they're named after the kukri knife actually, because they have very special teeth adapted for slicing open reptile eggs, which is a large part of their diet. And they'll also eat toads and frogs. And I've seen other species of kukri snake, I'm guessing these ones do it too, actually attack toads that are like 10 times their girth, which are way too big for them to swallow. And they'll actually use those dagger-shaped kukri teeth to saw off limbs of the toad and eat just the limbs, which is quite gnarly if you think about it. And quite cool as well, but...
So why are you being so careful with it?
Because of these huge dagger-shaped teeth. If this one gets you real good, there's a fair chance you're going to need stitches.
Especially one of around this size.
Yeah, this is a really good size one, and their teeth are really long and near the rear of the mouth. So they're a very hard snake to even restrain and grab behind the head like you could with any other dangerous snake. You don't get them like in the perfect position. They will just like push their teeth past their jaw and right into your finger. and their saliva also contains an anticoagulant, so kukri snake bites tend to bleed a lot for very long. So I'm going to be more careful with this than I am with a lot of venomous snakes.
And I'll actually insert a picture I took recently of my friend when he caught one. I told him to get it behind the head, but I didn't tell him what happens.
That's a good prank. I'm gonna try to get it behind the head to show you just what I mean with those when I say large knife-shaped teeth. I think the reason it's hard to get them behind the head is because their head isn't very distinct from the body, and they have really powerful neck muscles to like twist and work their way out of your grip. Oh wow, explosive diarrhea. Got him. Look at that. Zoom in on that. Look, his tooth is actually getting my nail really hard and scratching my nail. You can see there.
Yeah, I can see the point of your nail.
Look at that. You can see the tooth quite literally biting into my nail, and I'm trying my... Look at that. He's literally getting me... Ow, I'm gonna let go. He got me a little bit underneath the nail there.
Oh wow, let me zoom in on your finger for a second.
That first time before you zoomed in, it went, instead of on top of my nail, it went under my nail a little. So it's bleeding a little bit, but not too bad. But yeah, that is exactly why. Usually when I find kukri snakes, I don't even touch them.
Not used to seeing David so cautious with a snake.
Yeah, look at that. Zoom in on this. Do you see those huge serrated teeth just getting me in the nail?
Yeah, I do. It can move its top jaw to bite you so well.
Look at that. I'm trying my best to grab him behind the head. Luckily my nail is in the way, but if that was my finger, I would be bleeding like crazy right now.
It's just like a fang, you know, the tooth.
It really is, and they can move them so far back behind their own jaw even. They're very, very difficult to safely restrain. He keeps smelling my scent on his body, and then he keeps trying to bite that. Alright, I'm just gonna let this one go. I'm done messing with.
Alright, see you, mate.
Let's go.
Alright, thanks for watching yet another video. As usual, new videos every Thursday, I think. Might be switching to Friday. I'll get back to you on that one. But check out our links in the description and click on one of the recommended videos on screen.